Welcome this week in Missouri Politics, busy veto session week. We are joined here today by a guy who's heading out to Washington, D.C. tomorrow, Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Scott.
So you are leaving now to be the Deputy Director of the FBI, right?
Yeah, co-deputy director of the FBI, call to service. And it's not something I undertake lightly.
What does that job do?
Administer the Federal Bureau of Investigation and lead an organization of almost 38,000 employees, 55 regional offices. It's a big job. But look, again, this is about a call to service. Missouri is and always will be home, and I'll be home soon.
Well, let me ask you about that call. Your career it's a story no one would believe. What was it the day Mike Parson took office? You took the job as deputy counsel at corrections, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I was an assistant prosecuting attorney in Warren County, Missouri. My wife and I adopted kiddos. Couldn't afford to be an assistant prosecutor. Started at Missouri Department of Corrections on June 1st, 2018. Significant date in our state's history. And, God had a plan for Governor Parson. God had a plan for me. Governor Parson and his staff saw me working at Department of Corrections, pulled me up to be with him, was at the right place at the right time.
In that trajectory from 2018, the middle of 2018, Deputy Counsel of Corrections, moved up to General Counsel of Corrections, Deputy Counsel in the Governor's Office, General Counsel to Governor, then you become Attorney General. That timeline is unheard of in Missouri politics.
Yeah, Scott's put it in perspective. The last jury trial I tried was in May of 2018 at the Warren County Courthouse. The very next time I went to court was representing the state of Missouri at the United States Supreme Court building in our fight to prevent Joe Biden's redistribution of wealth to cancel student loan debt. And so, it was a significant career trajectory, and I've been blessed and fortunate to have the opportunities.
So walk me through what it's got to be like. You're the Attorney General of Missouri. By all accounts, one of the most popular men in the state, probably a leading candidate to be governor after Governor Kehoe. What was that call like to ask you to serve?
It's bittersweet. I love the state of Missouri. Missouri's home. When I came home from the Army, I was dedicated to never leaving the state of Missouri again, but duty calls, and I'm always going to answer that call, and that may be true in the future as well. Missouri's home. I'm going to come home, and I'm committed to ensuring that we have sound conservative leadership in state government from the top of the ticket on down that can deliver transformative change.
It sounds like although you're going to Washington, you plan to come home and actually running for governor, as many folks were hoping you would, is still something very much on the table for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm coming home and committed to ensuring that this state has transformative conservative leaders in public office.
Let's talk about a guy that I know you care a lot about, guy I know very well, former Governor Mike Parson. Your stories are, totally linked. Tell me about Mike Parson and what that relationship's like to this day.
He's a father figure. This is someone who you get to know on a personal level. The former First Lady Teresa Parson, the people that they almost like adopt you into their family. Yeah. And that's how he treated his staff. And this is someone who mentored me on statesmanship, on doing the right things for the right reasons, and has provided me with so many of the opportunities that have provided the kind of career trajectory that a guy like me never would have had otherwise.
So when you walk through in these opportunities, it is an amazing thing for the President of the United States to ask you to serve in his administration, especially, you're coming into something where there's work to be done. There's some work to be done there. I don't know, crisis, I don't follow Washington politics that closely, but you get a big job. What was it like when the president asked you to come into his administration?
It's always humbling to get a call to serve, but I would point out that I had a big job here at the Missouri Attorney General's office. My predecessor, Eric Schmidt, had done some incredible things and really, again, delivered transformative change for the people of the state of Missouri through his service as Missouri Attorney General, and to be able to carry on that legacy and take it in new and exciting places to continue to support and defend the values that I share with Senator Schmidt and with so many Missourians. That was a humbling privilege, and navigating state government, having never run for public office, having never served in that kind of position, that was a daunting task. But we've accomplished some incredible wins, from the big ticket items to the smaller ticket items that still matter to me. We delivered wins for the people of the state of Missouri, and I'll be forever grateful for the opportunity to serve and the support I've received statewide.
Yeah.
And the wins we've accomplished. I'll look back on that with pride.
Walk me through when I heard that Governor Kehoe was considering Catherine Hanaway. I thought, it is a very short list of people who on day one could do that job. You either think of Kurt Shaver or Tim Garrison, but you think of a Catherine Hanaway. You've left big shoes to fill, but on day one, she has the capacity to do that job.
Well, a lot of it, and she absolutely is going to step up to the plate and do a fantastic job. You know, one of the things we really pride ourselves on over the past 3 years was recruitment, retention, mentorship. You know, we inherited an office that has historically struggled to recruit talent due to a tight labor market. No other issue than that. It's, you know, recruiting and retaining talent in state government is always a
problem for everybody.
It's a problem for everybody. You know, we have shored up our recruitment through a great partnership with Mizzou Law School. We'd like to expand that to other law schools. That's become a recruitment pipeline for us. We instituted a mentorship program and a retention program that have delivered enormous cost savings to the people of the state of Missouri. We've won 10 complete defense verdicts in employment defense suits, all but one of which has been in St. Louis or Kansas City. Those are challenging.
And those used to be just rubber stamped. They would cut you shut.
They would just, you know, bleed through the nose on that stuff. And we've been able to show up and fight and win because of our recruitment, retention, and mentorship. You know, my former Deputy Attorney General Bill Corrigan designed a trial master's program. I always give him credit. This is a nationally innovative model. Fantastic human being, great leader, phenomenal attorney. But this trial master's program is a mentorship program that, again, is directly attributable to those wins, but is a model, a blueprint that I think other state attorneys general will likely adopt in the future.
Two things I remember, and one's big, one's small. Kim Gardner. I really do believe St. Louis is a better place. And if you had not stepped up and frankly been a little unconventional about how you went about it, Gabe Gore would not be there. The city, no matter what the state does with the police department, if the prosecutor won't prosecute crimes, probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, case in point, Kim Gardner had a 96% non-prosecution rate of reported criminal offenses. And I think that probably underestimated how bad the crime was, because at some point people stopped calling the police and they stopped taking reports. But of the reported crimes that there was an authored police report referred for prosecution, she declined or didn't take action on 96% of those. Now, the quo warranto statute has been on the books for centuries, but it had never been used to define the contours of prosecutorial discretion. And so this really was an innovative approach.
Oh, and there's a lot of folks that were heaping criticism on you and scorn. But I think even the greatest critics of you have to say the city of St. Louis has a much better chance to turn things around and succeed today because of what you did.
Well, I think that it's absolutely remarkable what's happened in St. Louis since she's been gone.
Yeah.
She resigned because of the quo warranto. She resigned the day she was going to be ordered in court to sit for deposition and turn over documents that could have attached criminal, civil liability, administrative liability. So she resigned because of that quo warranto. We had the gumption, the audacity, the courage to take bold action and deliver that transformative change. And I'm forever grateful for my team that helped deliver that win for the people of the state.
I've been surprised. I got buddies, of course, Jay Schroeder, those guys at the FOP. What a great job. What a great day for them getting that bill passed. But just the guys that you see at the Union Hall, they're not high up in the union. They're guys who are cops. They're working on every day on the force. I underestimated the morale boost this would be. Those guys are flying high right now.
Yeah, look, I mean, Kim Gardner was more focused on prosecuting police officers who were doing their job than she was the criminals who were running the streets. And so just to have a prosecutor there that's going to respect and support the work the police are doing, like you said, it doesn't matter how many investigations are completed if there's no one in court to prosecute those cases. And so this is a huge win. Governor Kehoe's crime bill, you know, putting a structure in place to ensure that we're taking the politics out of policing to support the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, adopting them as clients of the Missouri Attorney General's office. You know, my three favorite clients are KCPD, Missouri State Highway Patrol, and SLMPD, and I'm sure General Hanaway will feel the same way when she takes over. You know, we want to be there to back the blue and ensure public safety for all people.
Something else that I think, you know, that you don't get enough credit for. You're at a gas station now, and you see all these candy-looking products that have drugs in them. And it's some loophole I don't understand. You've been pretty vocal about getting that candy out of those gas stations, out of the hands where kids could buy it, and have it put in a regulated market like the people voted for a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That has been something I think actually has made a real difference. It's something I think your successor is going to pick that mantle up.
Yeah, I think she will. I hope she will. Look, at the end of the day, the Missouri Merchandising Practices Act is a statute enacted by the people's representatives in the General Assembly, and it gives the Attorney General's office broad authority to ensure that we're not having those kind of harmful products in the open marketplace. And like you said, We have a regulated market,
Yep.
and that protects consumers. It protects public safety when you have these kinds of unregulated products with no safeguards in place. Kids, other consumers can get hurt, and I want Missouri to be the safest state in the nation for children, and that was really the driving force.
You've certainly been a very high-profile attorney general. I mean, you don't have to Google very hard to find the cases you've had that have went to the Supreme Court and so on. Think about some of the smaller things you're proud of, because the office feels like right now it's really functioning on a high level.
Yeah, again, and that's directly attributable to the recruitment, retention, and mentorship. We're staffed at the levels that have been appropriated by the General Assembly. We've got that retention and mentorship in place so we can show up and fight and win in court. We've increased criminal prosecution by 133% in 1 year alone from my office, while still respecting local control of our local law enforcement and prosecutors. We recovered more than $430 million in settlements, judgments in our Consumer Protection Division on behalf of working Missouri families in 1 year alone. These are record-setting wins on the baseline functions, core functions of the Missouri Attorney General's office. So from the United States Supreme Court to the Circuit Court of Grundy County, we're hard at it.
Love Grundy County. I think the high-profile stuff comes, but I really think if you could balance those two, you're really doing right by the folks.
Yeah, and one of the challenges, I think, is just the fragmentation of the way in which the people of the state of Missouri receive information. And so, if we're at the United States Supreme Court fighting Joe Biden's censorship on big tech social media platforms, that's going to get Fox News attention.
Yeah.
But the case in Dunklin County on a child sex crime that is really important to me and to those victims and to those law enforcement officers that investigated that case, that doesn't always get the same media attention. And so a lot of times what happens is everyone's saying, well, you're just going after these big headlines, and it's not, because we're not taking care of the daily
You
business.
don't get to pick what the headlines are.
I don't get to
You
pick the headlines.
cases, yeah.
And there aren't always channels on which to communicate some of those everyday wins to the people of the state. More than $50 million in savings through our civil defense, more than $433 million in settlements and judgments in consumer protection alone, increase of criminal prosecution statewide from the office by 133%. These are numbers that I think the people of the state of Missouri can be very proud of. Certainly I'm proud of them. And that's just the core functions of the office.
Before we leave, you gave a speech, maybe one of the last speeches of the kind you might give for a while, about the Missouri plan. Nobody has a better conservative credential than you. War hero, prosecutor, attorney general. What is your reason why Missourians should not just support, be proud of the Missouri plan?
Well, I was in an event last night hosted by former Governor Mike Parson. And again, this is someone who's been a father figure to me. And he was there to celebrate the judges that he put on the bench during his time in office. And I got to sit at his right hand and assist in that process. And what we saw is, under Governor Parson, that process worked. I mean, he reshaped the judiciary. I think there's something like 430 judges in the state of Missouri. He appointed more than 100, 150, something like that. And so to see the process and to see Governor Parson sit around his table in his office and say, I would give deep legal analysis. And he would listen patiently. And he would say, okay, that's great. Sounds like they're very competent, but tell me who they are as a person. And so picking the right people for the right reason and seeing that process work, it was really remarkable and humbling to get to participate in. I think it's a legacy that Governor Parson leaves to this state. And it's something that maybe he doesn't get as much credit for as he should.
Andrew Bellion, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck out in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, my friend. Talk soon.
Be right back with our Opinion Maker panel, 7-1 map discussion after this.
For more than a century, the St. Louis Carpenters Union has shaped our communities. Through trusted alliances, we deliver skilled professional craftspeople, while our business partners provide the kind of quality jobs that keep our economy humming. It's a blueprint that has worked since 1882. Turning Missouri into a right-to-work state stalls progress, wipes out jobs, and kills momentum. Right to work is wrong for everyone. Let's keep Missouri moving forward. Visit carpdc.org to learn more.
Missouri farmers have been doing what's best for their land for generations. After all, no one knows what it takes to feed and fuel a growing global population better than they do. So why are trial lawyers threatening Missouri farmers' best defense against weeds? Our farmers don't need to be controlled. They need to be supported. Keep glyphosate in our state. Show your support at TakeControlMissouri.com. Paid for by Modern Ag Alliance in support of Missouri farmers.
Missouri's childcare crisis is hurting our children, families, and even our economy. Currently, 78 Missouri counties are designated as childcare deserts. where the number of kids needing childcare exceeds the number of available options. Today, some Missouri families are spending more on childcare than housing, and Missouri's childcare shortage costs our economy $1.35 billion every year. Missouri families and businesses deserve better. Learn more at mochampionofchildren.com.
Some politicians claim cockfighting is a proud tradition, but is it really something to be proud of? Cockfighting isn't just cruel to animals, it's cruel to humans. It's linked to organized criminal activity, illegal gambling, even drug trafficking. Leading law enforcement and Christian groups have spoken out and are urging a stop to the violence. But some politicians want to give cockfighters a pass. Keep cockfighting out of our state.
We have a severe weather alert to report here. The storm is also bringing the threat of damaging winds and large hail.
Here's the thing. When storms bear down, we step up.
Ready to begin?
You bet.
Our teams are always ready to keep your power strong. Ameren.com/poweron.
Welcome back to This Week in Missouri Politics Veto Session Opinion Maker Panel. We are joined by one of the rising stars of the Missouri Democratic Party, Mark Sharp. Thank you for the time.
Good afternoon, or good morning, Scott. Happy to be here. Representative Mark Sharp, South Kansas City.
One of my favorite people to be on this show, LaKeySha Bosley, St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you. Thank you so much. I almost think when they introduce you, it should be like those Anheuser-Busch commercials. They go, Anheuser-Busch.
I
St. Louis,
think
Missouri.
I think that is amazing. Please have that rolling in the back.
The always well-dressed Representative Travis Wilson, thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you, Scott. Thank you so much. St. Charles, Missouri's first state capital.
And now for the man who is, we'll call him the chairman of this particular end, the man who chaired the redistricting MAP committee, Representative Richard West from St. Charles County. Can I just say defiance? I just like the town.
How about Numelli? Because that's where I'm.
All right, but also representing defiance.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, Mr. Chairman, you saw the bill that you run through your committee pass through the House this week. As we tape this, the Senate has not taken the bill up yet. Tell me why this was the right move and why the right time.
Well, leadership brought this to us. There's been so many accusations on where it came from. I'll just say leadership brought this to me. They asked me to be the chair to make sure that this bill was, my goal was to make sure Missourians had the best chance to know what was going on, and through my committee. I know there's
You did take testimony from 4 or 5 people for this, and a whole hours and hours worth of people. You sat there all day.
5.5 hours.
You earned your pay that day. I respect that. If someone drives to the state
my
capitol,
job, though.
yeah.
I mean, that's my job.
But if someone drives to their state capitol and wants your attention and goes through the proper channels, I respect someone that sits there and listens to them.
Well, honestly, so there were 40, I counted every one. I wrote notes from every person that sat there.
God bless you.
I wrote the highlights of what they had to say. I did listen. We just disagree. The biggest problem of the night was, or the afternoon was, most of the people were there to testify against President Trump and not the credits of the bill.
But on the merits, Representative Wills, I mean, you guys have made some comments, and I get it, but this was a Donald Trump decision to call up and say, do this. He sent them the map. He said, don't change it. And so far through the process, the governor did what he wanted. The House has done what he wanted with no changes. This was a Washington thing. What's wrong with that?
Well, regardless of where it came from, Scott, I can tell you this. I'm always going to be working for the people of Missouri and serving people of Missouri. I work with the people of Missouri that have come into this House, whether we disagree or we agree, whether I'm on the right or the left. I'm trying to make sure that we're doing things that move Missouri forward. At the end of the day, why did I vote for this bill? I believe that it moved Missouri forward.
And I think both of you could say it's better for St. Charles County. You now will have a congressional seat anchored with St. Charles, most likely served by St. Charles County, and it's truly better for you.
Exactly.
Representative Mark Sharp, I'll just be honest with you. I love the sticking to the message. I love it doesn't matter where it came from. Sure. And maybe, you know what? It's your prerogative if you're an elected legislator. I don't care where it came from.
Right.
But the fact is, this came from Washington. This was sent. This was told, do exactly what we sent you and don't change it. And they are. For better or for worse, I don't know why the Republicans don't say, yeah, Donald Trump is wildly popular in this state. He wins every time he runs here. He wins places and does better than most Republicans do in places like Kansas City. We're going to pass this map because that's what he wants us to do. Right. And by God, I think that would be just so much easier than this. I don't know where it came from. I drew the map in my office. Come on. We know what happened.
Well, yeah, might as well lean into it, right?
Sure. What's wrong with that?
I think the problem with that is I think Republicans realize that there may not be as much love for Donald Trump as they might presume.
I have never seen that expressed electorally in this state yet. What part of this state in what election is Donald Trump not the most popular politician of this generation in the state of Missouri?
In Kansas City and St. Louis in particular. But I think if you have that message, and going back to Richard's point about folks testifying against Donald Trump, this national redistricting war and Donald Trump are now synonymous. So you can't say redistricting without thinking of Donald Trump. So, this was Donald Trump's idea. President Donald Trump's idea. It has pumped life back into the 7-1 map that I thought, a lot of us thought that had been put to bed back in 2022. So it is pretty alarming, but it's not his idea. It's just pumping life back into something the so-called Freedom Caucus wanted back in 2000.
Well, I tell you, LaKeySha, when Bill Eigel lost, I thought maybe he lost, but instead, I mean, it is the Republican Party of Bill Eigel. This was his baby. Even Bill Eigel didn't ask for such an aggressive map. This is more than he asked for.
I think it just goes back to the point, I sat on the redistricting committee in 2021 when we had the fight over the 7-1 map. And it was not widely supported amongst Republican colleagues that are here now, some that are gone. And I think that it's important to note that the information that we have and the data that we have on these maps are not divided by party demographics. They're divided by race demographics, which ultimately makes it racial gerrymandering. So I think...
I love you to death, but I'll just say, if Emmanuel Cleaver was white and a Democrat, they'd have went after him just the same.
And that may be so. However, the data still stands that we only have the data for racial demographics. We do not have the data that says this is how many Democrats were moved out of Congressional District 1. This is not Republicans, Libertarian, Green Party. We don't have that.
But the data exists of the historical voting patterns of each precinct in this state.
But presented is the part. It has not been presented by the governor's office. It hasn't even been presented by the White House.
LaKeySha, you have to go. They're pretending like this isn't about partisan gerrymandering.
No, the Supreme Court said partisan gerrymandering was legal.
But if you listen to our friends, this is about a better map for the state and all these things. So, of course, partisanship doesn't matter, which, of course, it's all that matters.
To get more Republicans in Congress.
And again, if I'm you, yes, that's what we're doing.
So let's be clear, okay? That you're absolutely right on that.
Sure.
Okay.
And what's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that because I'll tell you this. If you just look at the events that have happened over this country in the last 10 years, okay, we are trying to secure some normalcy in our republic. And what I mean by that is
Donald Trump normal?
Absolutely not. Some of the,
I mean, I agree with that. Of all the things I admire,
all agree. He's not normal. He's not your typical politician, okay? And we all understand that. However, I just watched this weekend something that happened in Charlotte, North Carolina, okay? And it was horrible what happened there. Folks, I believe, are tired of the lawlessness. They're tired of the courts letting people out. They're tired of, and this is, you can say it's a color issue, but it's not a color issue. People are centrist in this country. They really are.
Prediction time. Will there be any political blowback from this map, positive or negative? Will your constituents, or will specifically yours, Representative Wilson, you're in a district that Democrats could win. You have to compete for your seat.
It's true.
It's far more than Representative West does or anyone up here. Will one person care at all that you've changed these lines?
Well, Scott, I think at the end of the day, my constituents are incredibly smart people. And I think that throughout the state of Missouri, in both Representative Sharp and Representative Bosley's district and Representative West district and my own, I think that the people of Missouri are incredibly smart people. I think that we do have a smart electorate, and I believe that they're going to be able to look at the merits of this situation, and they're going to be able to make a decision based upon that and not other factors.
Will anyone in your district care?
Oh, a lot of people cared. Okay, but they cared enough to send me. I got more for people in my district now, not just the Shirley ones. I got more people that emailed me and said, "Keep going. This is a great job." Than the other way.
People care, you'll benefit. I say no one cares. No one will benefit. No one will suffer. Will this be something the House Democrats use to target Republicans next fall?
I think so. And I think the people are going to target Republicans next fall. I don't think that it's going to be based off of Democrats. I think the people just don't want this.
I think regular folks don't give a damn. What do you think?
I think you better find a candidate for the 5th district because without a strong candidate, I still think that there's a chance. And what this has done, I know Chairman West has said he's received a lot of emails in support. I've received a ton of emails in opposition, and I think the testimony, I think, says it all. I mean, I know rural Missourians aren't afraid to show up to the Capitol. So how come nobody showed up? One person in favor?
Let me ask you this. Who is going to be the nominee for that 5th district?
Well,
I was going to say, are we looking at the candidate now?
no, you're not. You're not looking at him. Our Congressman Cleaver is our guy. I want to be.
And he's going to run in this 5th district.
Absolutely.
Who's gonna be the candidate for the Democrats?
Honestly, I'm leaving that up to Kansas City. Whatever Kansas City says, I'm backing them because they know what their people need and what their people want.
I'll give you a prediction. I don't think Congressman Cleaver runs in this district. I think Jason Kander runs, and it's going to be a very close race. Give me the Republican you think runs in this.
Ooh, that's hard to handicap at this point, Scott. I mean, there's a lot of great people out there, but we've already got great congressmen in place. Congressmen like Mark Alford, Jason Smith, and the list goes on.
You're opening up a new slot. Who's going to be on the dance card?
You know, I think you're going to have 5 people, probably 5 people.
Probably, yeah.
At
In
least.
a primary. Who will win out of that? I'm not really sure. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's
Okay, I'll do the predicting here.
I know.
I think you're going to have a Jason Kander, Curtis Gregory matchup. The true son of Mizzou, the corn farmer from Saline County. I think it's going to be very close, but I think it's a numbers game, and I think Curtis Gregory will win. But Jason Kander, if he runs for this, will be a very formidable candidate.
I disagree. I don't think Kander's going to be involved. I think he'll be helpful, but I don't think that he'll.
Who's better than him on that bench that could run? That could win that district.
Well, if you put Mayor Quentin Lucas into the 4th,
very formidable.
That gives Mark Alford some trouble. And then you run Rev in the 5th like normal. With this turnout that we've had of protests, and we're going to have some folks here today. I mean, I think that there's going to
honestly be some justice in seeing this blow up on the Republicans. But we're about to lose off the air, so with a minute left, 2 on the week.
I'm going to say the staff of the Missouri House.
2 on the week.
I think that it was 2 people, Governor Mike Kehoe and Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. She was installed this week as the first female Attorney General in Missouri's history, and I think that the 2 of them, they won the week.
It's like when Garth Brooks puts out a new album, it sounds like the old stuff, but you're kind of excited about it. I'm excited about
every time.
General Hanaway. Who won the week?
I think Missouri's people won the week for how they showed up in this building, how they let their voices be heard. I think Missourians won the week.
1 week.
Kansas City stood up in a big way over the weekend and had their voices heard as well.
I'm going to say Senator Cindy O'Loughlin. We had our 6th annual roast this past week for a great cause, Safe Passages in Moberly, Missouri. A lot of fun. I think Jeff Rowe, and I think the Speaker of the House who came a little tardy. I think Drew Damp and Rusty Black. We had a great time. Had a lot of laughs for a very good cause. We will see you next week from the campus of Missouri State University here on This Week in Missouri Politics.
This Week in Missouri Politics is sponsored by the Missouri Automobile Dealers Association, Ameren, Spire, the United Electric Cooperative, and the Missouri Association of Career Fire Protection Districts.